For those of you that might not know, just talking to the people from the show,
Yep.
Paul is an FBB pro judge. He is also in the podcast with Fuad Ian, and he is always analyzing all of the pro shows over there with them. And because of that, I want you to see a couple of controversial results we've had past season.
Yes.
And we'll just go through pose by pose, and I'd like to have your take on those
Yes.
shows. The first one that I want you to see is a 2-1-2 show. It's Eli Fibrado against Vitor Porto.
Okay.
I don't know if you are familiar with the guys, but Eli Fibrado is this guy over here. You might have. Oh, come! I need to share my screen. So go. This is Eli Velton.
Okay.
Okay. He goes viral on the internet with some stuff he posts. Like he's always super shredded.
Huh.
And he was going against this guy. His name is Vitor. Here he is. He was 5th in this last Olympia, which is super high. It was his first Olympia.
Yeah. Yeah, I've seen him. I wasn't familiar with the name, but I have seen his physique. Well, obviously at the Olympia.
Yeah. Okay. Let me show you now. I'm going to mute them here. So first, the front relax here.
Yes. Let me see if I can. Yeah, I'm just going to try a bit more. Yeah, I can zoom in. Good. Okay. Front relaxed. Okay. Do you want me to go pose for pose with the quarter turns as well?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think they are doing quarter turns over here. Just let's go into to analyze what they are doing.
What's standing out to me right now is, I'm sorry, what's the gentleman's name on the left?
Eli Velton.
The taller guy? Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
I think he's not doing himself any favors with that, starting with that front relaxed the way he's standing. I would draw that waist in there. That's a little bit better there. Maybe he was mid pose before. But yeah, I would try to square those shoulders up a bit more, and try to bring that waist in and drop the hips back a little bit to try to get that 3D effect that you're looking for. That way it'll help enhance the taper, but looks pretty complete. Going to the shorter gentleman there, very thick upper body, but legs look a little bit lacking compared to the upper body, at least from that first initial shot here.
Yeah, I have the same feeling of you. I think that in the Olympia, his legs were way fuller than this. I don't know what happened here.
Yeah, I'm not sure if it's that shot or what, but his quads look a little bit out of proportion. Right
yeah, but even between shots, I feel like they do look smaller.
I feel like he could close that gap between his legs a little bit too, and make his legs look not a little bit less narrow by standing a little bit closer together.
I think this was a month or so after the Olympia. It was actually close to the Olympia. Okay. So this is also something that I don't know if it plays a role, but Vitor was 5th, right, in the Olympia. So he came in as the major favorite.
Okay, so we'll get to the front double here. Front double, I like. Again, I'm sorry. What's the shorter?
Vitor. You can just say shorter and taller for now. It's okay. I'm going to translate. I'll put Vitor and Eli.
Vitor and Eli. Okay, Vitor's upper body looks amazing there. Great taper, very full, very complete. Great lats from the front. Arms are good. Chest is good. Shoulders, small waist too. But the quads to me look a little bit undersized compared to his upper body. Eli looks good, although I still think there's some posing issues going on there. I think he can make himself look a lot better by hitting that pose better. But that's a close pose. I mean, without being there in person, just going by this picture, and it looks like the angle's a little bit slightly benefiting Eli because the angle.
Yeah, for sure.
I would probably go with Eli on that pose because of balance. Because I feel like Vitor's lower body looked pretty unbalanced to me there in that shot.
Yeah, it really does. I don't know what he could do to improve that, but I think that he has the muscle. I think that it's probably something that went through the end of the prep there, because he usually is not like this.
Yeah, and that can happen, especially if it's new muscle or if it's a a body part that's not as genetically gifted. Maybe legs didn't hold up through the rigors of the weeks of dieting. Maybe that could be it because he does look conditioned. His condition looks very good, and his upper body is very full, very good. Just quads are throwing me off right now.
Yeah, yeah. I feel like Ellie is more balanced.
Yeah, Ellie's more balanced shape too, so it's a matter of how much one way or the other. But I would take Ellie in that pose.
There you go,
Front
front lat.
again, Vitor's upper body looks great, but the lower body not holding up to the upper body. Ellie here looks more complete. Again, posing, should be bringing that waist in more. Should be dropping those hips back a little bit more to enhance the taper. But balance-wise, I would just going by these pictures only. Again, it's a different story when you're there in person. But going by these pictures alone, I would go with Ellie on that shot as well.
Yeah, yeah. I feel like the front shots are really unbalanced because of how smaller his legs
Yeah,
got.
and it looks to me like these pictures are taken on a slight angle. And maybe that's what's making his legs, look a little bit even more unbalanced. Maybe it's making him more so unbalanced. But from
Yeah,
these
yeah,
shots, at least, with an upper body like that, I feel like those quads got to come up quite a bit, especially in the sweep.
sure. And Ellie has a smaller upper body than Vitor, but the legs looks way bigger, like
Yeah,
side by side. So
I think has some posing issues. I think he's got better shape than he's showing. I think his posing isn't doing him any favors. He should be bringing those abdominals in, dropping his hips back a little bit to give more of a 3D effect and enhance that taper more. He's kind of sticking his stomach out a little bit, which isn't.
yeah, I realized that through all his front poses. Here is a bit better, but it's in between, right?
Yeah, yeah. That's a bit better. He pulls up a little bit there. It looks a little bit better.
Yeah, yeah. I was trying to see if I could get a better a better picture, but it's his posing really seems an issue, and it could be the difference, between him beating Vitor or losing, because it's very
For,
close. So
for sure. I've seen many shows where people have posed themselves out of placings. They
yeah.
had been show it.
Okay, let's go to the side poses. Side try. Oh, I hate those front triceps
I,
variation.
I hate it too. It looked to me like I would give that pose to Vitor, the side tricep initially there.
Oh,
This pose here, I like Ellie in this pose. But Vitor's side leg looks pretty good. Very good at separation.
yeah.
Pretty good drop to the hamstring. Quads look pretty very detailed and from the side there. That pose I would probably give to Vitor.
Just trying to take another. See if we can get another.
See that one,
Since
yeah.
it's a video, it's always.
He looks good, right?
Yeah,
Yeah, I would go Vitor in that pose. And
yeah,
again, Ellie, I believe if he could pull that shoulder back more, that shoulder that's facing the judges, if he can drop that back more, and open up that chest, then that pose is completely different, and that would open up his taper a lot more. And then maybe that pose would be his. He's got great detail there in his side leg too, and he's got good pec detail. Everything's there. But the way he's hitting that pose, again, he's just closing himself off. He's narrowing his shoulders and losing
yeah.
his. If he could hit that pose,
Especially, sorry.
sorry, go
Okay.
ahead.
No, I mean, especially with someone like Vitor next to him, right? That is
Yeah,
super thick in the upper body.
yeah, very thick, very detailed. Yeah, I would give that pose to Vitor based on the way they're both hitting it.
So 2-1 so far, right?
Yeah,
Let's go to
that
this.
tricep. Do we give that one to Vitor?
Yeah, let's see with
Oh, it's right here. Okay,
yeah.
I would give that one to Vitor again. But again, Ellie could hit that pose differently. If Ellie could bring that shoulder back and open up that chest and show that taper more, different story. But um, but I
I
would
feel
go
like
with
he's also almost facing the floor the way
right.
he's like he's not in a side pose. He's I don't know. I'll try
Like he
to take a
like
better take here.
almost like he was leaning forward, the upper body.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's flexibility in the shoulders. If he was able to get his arm back further to get that tricep back there, then he could drop those shoulders back, open up his chest, and show more taper. But it looks to me like he just the flexibility isn't there for him to do that. So he's just doing it as best as he can, which is detrimental to his physique though by doing it that way.
Yeah. This is
See, look
Porto all day, right?
look
Vitor.
at Vito hitting it. Like you can see the waist. Even though I would still square up the shoulders a bit more on Vitor's pose there, just again to enhance the taper. You can see the small waist there. You can see the shoulder that's facing the judges is dropped back a little bit more, opening up the chest a bit more. Whereas Ellie is like it's almost like he's yeah his upper body is leaning forward towards the ground because he just can't get that arm back there. I think.
Yeah. Yeah. So two right now. Two front
Yeah.
poses to Eddie, two side poses to Vitor.
Yep. The back. This is the difference right here.
Yeah.
Ellie's got some shredded glutes. Well, they both do. I got Vitor on that pose.
Vitor,
Ellie just
yeah.
Ellie's just like it might be posing again, but I feel like Ellie's narrow through the lats. And that's hurting him on that pose. His glutes are shredded, which is awesome. But a bit more detail in the hamstrings would balance that pose out better. But more hamstring detail and much wider back is what I think Ellie needs on that pose. Whereas Vitor, good taper there, a lot of muscularity in the back, great detail in the glutes and hamstrings. Everything looked pretty balanced. If anything, I would just open up the shoulders a bit more to enhance the taper, but everything's there, and I would definitely give that pose to Vitor.
Yeah, I think Vitor has one of the best back doubles of the whole 2-on-2. He's
Yeah,
like you can see the detail in the quads, the detail in the hamstring, in the calves, like
and the balance.
everywhere. Yeah, everywhere you look, you see he has muscle in all spots.
Yeah, yeah, and yeah, it's all put together well. Nice shape, nice small waist. Yeah, I would definitely give that pose to Vitor.
So 3-2 to Vitor now.
Yeah, again, Vitor. The lat width is quite a bit difference.
Yeah,
Detail in
I
the ham.
yeah, it's just too much muscle for Ellie because I feel like Ellie is way taller than him too. For
Yeah,
him to make 2-on-2, probably he doesn't have uh a lot of space to grow anymore, right?
right. Yeah, he looks. Yeah, I'm not sure how tall is Vitor. Is he a pretty short guy or?
Yeah, yeah, he is like pretty short. Because we use centimeters here, so I don't know, but I think it's like almost a 5'6" against a 5'5" kind of thing.
Yeah, which is a big difference in 212.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, I would imagine. I don't know what Ellie weighs there, but I imagine he's probably right near the top of 212 right now as it is.
yeah, yeah,
But I think he could do, but just with some posing changes, I feel like his physique could do much better can improve a lot better. The way he shows his physique, like even though, yeah, I think he needs more lat size. It's not like he has no back. He definitely has a good back. He just needs more lat size to make it more balanced. Maybe a little bit more hamstrings, but I don't think he needs like a ton more work. I just think he needs to change the way he presents his physique, and I think that would go a long way for him alone.
he
Yeah,
could.
like even on his lat spread there, he's not opened up. The left side is still not open up all the way. Even the right side, I feel like can open up more than that. Yeah, I really like to see him just work with a good posing coach and see what improvements he can make just by that alone.
Yeah, yeah. Even if he doesn't improve a single thing in his physique, he can do way better with what he already has.
Definitely, I think he may have, just judging by these photos alone, I'm not sure who won this show, but I would, I think when we went pose for pose there, I think we had Vitor winning more of the poses there, but I don't know. I kind of feel like Ellie's may have a bit of a better physique if he could present it better.
Yeah, yeah. Most complete, like most better put together, I think.
Yeah, nice
Yeah.
shape, nice flow, complete. You know, a couple improvements are needed, but if he could open up those lats more, you know, who knows? That's a different pose altogether.
Yeah, no, the abs and thigh.
Abs and thigh. I'd probably go Vitor on that pose once again because of the way Ellie's hitting it. I don't think the way he's hitting it is showing his taper good. I mean, again, I think you can see from the front there a little bit more lat development's needed.
Sorry.
That would give that pose more taper, but with the way he's hitting it, I don't think that's the way he should be.
Yeah, I feel like he's focusing too much in crunching the abs because
Yes,
he has crazy abs and crazy serrachos. So he's really trying to show that, but he's not like pulling his elbow up and showing his
right,
lats.
right.
He he's not showing his legs the best way he could. So I do feel like he would win this pose because his abs is so crazy,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
Vitor legs are not that great, right? So
right. Yeah, if he could stand more upright like Vitor is, in order to show that taper more, and you know, slightly change that pose a bit more to show his taper more, to show his shape better off. I think that's a different pose again. But the way he's hitting it, I got to go Vitor in that pose.
yeah, yeah.
So what's that?
Now the
5-2? Is that what we're at?
yeah, I mean Vitor is did not lose any of the poses after the two front shots, so
Okay.
it's
Yeah.
it's already his show, and at least judging from here. Yeah, and the
Yeah.
most muscular is also a Vitor shot, I think. I mean, he's
Yeah.
just thicker, right?
The density and the detail, I think overpowers him on that pose. But like, you
Yeah.
know, look at the way Ellie's hitting that most muscular. That's not doing his physique. You know, he's got a beautiful physique, and his strengths are going to be his size and shape. By hitting a pose like that, you're kind of
Yeah.
giving up
The
your advantage.
the crab is definitely not the best way to pose a most muscular for an aesthetic guy like him.
No, and especially the way he's hitting it, it's kind of like a hybrid crab with hand on the hip. And again, if he stood up more to show more taper, you know, elongated the abs a bit more there, dropped the hips back a little bit to really enhance that taper, maybe it's a different pose. But the way he's hitting it isn't doing him any favors again.
Yeah, but Vitor won this show, so
Okay,
we were
so
this one was the least controversial one, let's say.
okay,
Now let's go to a little bit more controversial. This was Muscle Contest Brazil, actually Mr. Olympia Brazil, and it was Nile. I think you know Nile,
Niall,
the
Niall,
the classic guy. So
yes,
let me paste Livinho. I don't really remember this guy's name, but I don't think he stayed here for too long. To be honest with you, Ramon, Nile, and Livinho. I'll show you Livinho. Maybe you've seen him. He has huge legs. Look at his physique; it's insane.
oh yeah, I have seen this guy. Yeah, he's got a crazy physique.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, and what did he? I'm sorry, what did he place at the Olympia?
He got his visa denied, so he could not go. This is why no one was no one was expecting him like Ramon was fourth and Niall was 11th, I think. So I think that people that were not from Brazil did not expect Livinho to be in the first call out too. But
Yeah,
we know him, so we know how good he is, and we did expect that. From relax right here, Ramon gets lots of shit for his posing, so don't worry. Don't feel bad to talk about him too if you feel like it's the case, because I know Brazilians might not have the best reputation around there. So
yeah, yeah. I love Ramon's physique, but yeah, there's a couple poses that I would tweak a little bit differently if I was him too. Now
I
that look at the shape there, right? You know, it's I mean, Ramon's got beautiful shape too and great physique, but look at that shape. That's incredible. Look at that taper. That's gonna be hard for anybody to stand next to.
I mean, what is this really?
I judged Niall last year in Toronto for the first time, and I was so impressed with his physique, especially in person. He's even more crazy. Yeah, it's almost cartoonish, his waist. It doesn't look real. Once he fills out that frame a bit more and builds a little bit more muscle maturity to show more detail and density to that physique, I think Niall's going to be one of the top classic guys. Classic is getting so competitive now. There's so many good guys.
Yeah, but I feel like structure wise, he is one of the best guys over there. He can even afford to be a bit less muscular than the guys because
Yeah,
he's so well put together.
yeah. Niall's muscle still looks young to me though. And I don't mean that as an insult in any way. I just mean like it looks like it doesn't have as much detail yet because it just needs more time. If that makes sense. He's got, his conditioning is always really good. So it's not a conditioning matter. I just think it's just a maturity matter, just muscle maturity matter. But he's well on his way. He's something else.
Let's go with the first pose here. The roundable bicep. What do you think, Paul?
Yeah, I'm gonna shit on Ramon's posing here a little bit. I just feel like he could bring those arms up a bit more, open up the lats a bit more there. I love what he's doing with his waist there and his stomach, bringing that in, drawing it in. He still shows great detail with the vacuum. Even the legs, like I don't really like the one leg turned out, one leg straight look like that. Like it works for some people, but I think if you're going to do that, you should add a bit of a twist to the hips too in order to kind of lean into that pose a little bit. I think that pose could be Ramon's if he hits it a little bit differently. Niall's waist, stands out in that lineup so much because it's just so ridiculous. But again, I still think Niall needs a little bit more maturity, a little bit more detail to the physique, to the quads, to the chest, to the arms. I'm sorry, what's the gentleman's, the short? Yeah, what's his name again?
Livino.
I'm sorry, what is it?
Livino.
Livino?
Yeah, Livino. Yeah.
To me, he looks like that pose.
Yeah.
With shape, size, taper, balance, conditioning. I, in my opinion, from this picture at least, I think he's got that pose out of those top three.
Yeah, me too. I'm sorry for the other guy, but I'll put our in front of him because
I had my camera zoomed, so I kind of had it.
Yeah, it's not that I'm not talking about you, but we are going with the top three guys here. So
yeah, he's a lankier physique. I think he's easy to fill it out a bit more.
Yeah, he's great, but
yeah,
they're top Olympian guys.
Dude, these are some of the top guys in the world right here.
Yeah.
This pose, it's hard to see, very clearly with the lighting there, but Ramon's standing out in that pose to me.
Yeah, let me get a better click because Livino was not in the pose yet. Yeah, okay,
Okay. I'll bet you in person that's probably a different story. Livino looks like he's pretty thick and conditioned in that pose. It's much different than watching it on a video screen like this. It is in person, obviously, but in the picture alone, Ramon's standing out to me here with the lines and the separation, lower body, thickness through the chest and delts and arms. I think he could bring that chest up a little bit higher to enhance that pose a bit more, maybe drop the arms a little bit to show his taper a bit more. But he stands out to me in that pose.
Yeah, I think that many guys do this. They hit the pose and then they want to hit a variation. But I feel like that if you have a good pose, you don't have to do any variations. You just stay there, and the eyes goes to you.
Right.
If you are moving around all the time, how do you expect to be judged? I mean, I can't even pause the pose, right? Because they move so fast. So
yeah.
I feel like guys don't understand really that it's not about showing all the tools you've got. It's just about hitting your best shot and staying there.
Yeah, I agree. It's not like how many poses you can get in a couple seconds. It's what your physique looks best in that pose, hitting it and staying there so you can take it in and look at it and analyze it. I agree. Yeah, you see it a lot of the side tricep and the abdominal and quad. You see those two poses a lot where people will transition to two different poses and they don't hold either one very long, not long enough at least for your
Yeah.
physique to be analyzed.
Yeah, I think that it's in an individual routine.
Yeah,
It's okay, like you can do as you
yeah,
please. I do like more the Ed Corning style of posing. Like slow when you hit, you stay there a couple of seconds. I think it's prettier to look at, but
I,
I do understand when it's a routine, you have your freedom to do it, right? But
yeah,
if it's the mandatories, if you are in a call out, why are you moving so much?
I agree.
Right?
And I wouldn't be surprised to see at some point in time where that may become more of a rule too. Because I know, like Tyler's pointed out to it last year, he touched on it with the side tricep. He made it like a lot of guys were hitting that variation of the side tricep. That's more or less a front pose. And Tyler made it so that, it's mandatory. You must hit the side pose first, and then you could transition to the front pose if you'd like. But the reason why he wanted you to hit the side tricep pose first is because that's what the pose is supposed to be. So he wanted to make sure that was in that rule now. Like you have to hit it that way first. So, but I don't personally see the benefit of the transition because I have a hard time believing that anybody looks better in a front side tricep than in an actual side tricep.
Yeah.
Unless, if it's purely a flexibility issue, I kind of understand that. But to me, that front side tricep pose doesn't look good on anybody because you're not showing taper. Yeah, I mean, you're showing muscularity for sure. I get that. You're showing detail, but those other poses are for showing that. This is for showing the detail and the balance of the side of that side pose. So I'd like to see that become more of a hard rule.
Yeah, yeah, me too. I feel like it's not. I saw Steve Weinberg went to Fuad's podcast recently, and he was talking about how you need to give the athletes some freedom because each physique is going to look better a certain way, and they should be allowed to move differently and hit the pose differently. But I feel like you cannot compare it well enough, right? If you have one guy doing one thing and the other guy doing another thing,
Yeah,
now I'm not looking at the same. I
right.
can't I can't make a call based on that. So
That, that-
I don't think that it's a matter of, oh, you are taking out the athlete's freedom. No, I think that you are just making it more fair.
yeah, no, I think that's an excellent point you made. Like if you want to compare that pose properly with each physique on that stage, and they need to be hitting the pose the same, or at least somewhat the same. There might be slight variations the way you hold your legs, whatever the case may be. But one shouldn't be doing a side tricep, and one shouldn't be doing a front side tricep. Like that's not a fair comparison, in my opinion.
Yeah, yeah,
You get it too with the abdominal and quad, right? Because you got some guys they'll do the two hands over the head, crunchy abs, but then they'll transition to one side with
yeah.
like with a
Especially
most
the guys with thicker midsection,
yeah.
right?
Yeah, and I get it. They're playing to their strengths, muscularity, but that pose should be again about balance, taper, and conditioning.
Yeah. Okay, so just to don't go off where we were before, I think the two there were like side there okay, two shots. There was the front double and the side chest. Side
Okay.
chest to Ramon, and front double you said it was Livinho, the shorter guy, right?
Yeah, yeah. Based on these photos, at least, yes.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, let's go to the back shots.
It's hard to see a lot of detail in that picture there.
Yeah, the shadows, like the lighting is definitely very off.
Yeah, but just going by what I can see here, um, Niles, I think again, beautiful shape, but I think needs a little bit more size on those lats, a little bit more density to those lats to fill out the physique more. Um, Ramon, I feel like is leaning back a little bit too much in that pose, and I feel like he's losing some taper by doing so. I think if he were to stand up a little bit straighter, he would show a little more lower lat, and that would bring out his taper more better. Would bring out his taper better in that pose. Livino there though, again, I think he's the most complete on that pose, and it looks like he's not fully into the pose there yet. It looks like his I think he's still got a little bit more opening up to go there yet.
Okay,
Maybe,
I think he opened a bit more,
yeah,
but
maybe.
not everything yet. But I feel like
But out of those three on that stage, at least, I think he looks the most complete to me there. Again, it's pretty dark shadows, but it looks to me like he's the most complete there. A little bit the best back development out of the three, at least in that pose. Again, with Ramon standing up more, maybe a different story. But you can see the detail, the thickness in his back. The balance through the quads, hamstrings, glutes, and nice shape. Big arms, big delts. Um, just by this picture alone, I would go on. I would go with him, Levito, on that
yeah,
show.
two one to him. So
Uh,
so far, right?
yeah. Boy, Niles looks great in that pose.
Yeah,
Yeah, look at that shape on Niles. Ramon, I don't like the vacuum. I think the vacuum. I'm not a huge fan of the vacuum, to be quite honest. I think it works for some people on certain poses, but on the abdominal and quad pose, I want to see the abdominal detail.
yeah,
And I don't, and I feel like you're doing a disservice a little bit, like with the vacuum. I mean, we just talked about transitions. I can understand transitioning from the vacuum to a crunch, um, but I don't think it. You can't see any detail in Ramon's abdominals. Like,
Let's see if they
oh,
did the other.
okay, better.
Yeah. I mean, not really, right? Just
Yeah,
yeah, not really.
I really like Niles in that pose there. His shape is just so crazy. That waist, man. But Levito too. I mean, again, you can see, he's got everything. He's very balanced, very complete, small waist, very dense muscle, very conditioned. I just wish I could see his physique a bit more clearly here. But
Yeah, it's too dark, right?
yeah, but look at those quads. Look at the quads stand out there in that pose and the shape again. Um, yeah, Niles and Levito are standing out to me on that pose. Ramon looks good once he crunches, but I
I
don't know.
feel like many guys try to hit it that this way in classic because Chris did it and he
Yeah,
looked amazing.
yeah,
But come on, guys.
yeah. You got to suit your physique.
Yeah.
And everybody's different. A slight little twist here and there can make a big difference in a post for somebody.
Yeah, yeah, and I do feel like Ramon has just so much ab detail that he shouldn't even do a vacuum. Like, why are you doing a vacuum for if
Right.
this is your abs, right?
Yeah, he's got nice shape as it is too. So it's not like he has to, try to enhance that shape at all. He's got beautiful shape. A lot of people call, say Ramon's physique is like a small bodybuilder, and a lot of people want, talk about seeing him move up to the 212 category one day, or even, I'm not sure what he weighs on stage, maybe even the open. Um, I can see that for sure. I think Ramon's got the kind of physique that could hold more muscle aesthetically. He's a bit narrow in the shoulders. But I feel like he's got kind of longer limbs, and I think he could support more muscle and still look really good with more muscle on his physique. It'd be interesting to see. With Chris out of the picture now, I'm sure he's got his sights set on the classic title, but I don't know. Sometimes I wonder. I'd like to see, it'd be interesting to see Ramon with 20 more pounds in the open bodybuilding. And that's the same thing with like a Mike Somerville. They're not like stature wise, they're not big guys, but when you start going pose for pose though.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm
Super complete.
Yeah, very complete, very much. So Niles was third at this show.
Nile was third, Livino was second, Ramon's first.
Was it close? Did you see the scores? Was it close for first and second?
Yeah, yeah. I think it was not a point, but like a 2 points, something like this. Like
Really?
yeah, very close. But
Yeah. Like I always say, like being in person is totally different. Judging pictures as opposed to being in person is completely different. And but just judging on these pictures alone, I would have went with the veto here.
yeah, yeah. I felt the same way. But I can understand it. So
I understand.
this one was super controversial. Um, there were three guys going. Rafa, Tonio, and Good Vito.
Yep.
The most controversial thing for me in the judging right now, I'm going to say it was that there were three guys super close to each other, and they never did a three-man call out. At least
Yeah.
I could not find any footage of it.
Yeah.
at least in finals. So it's really odd for me. They did Tonio against Vito, Tonio against Brandao, and Vito against Brandao, but they did not put the three guys together on stage.
Yeah. I've noticed a trend the last couple of years that I personally don't like. They're doing a lot of like 7-man callouts for the first callouts now. I'm seeing at the big shows like Olympia and Arnold and that. And I just think, to me, the smaller the call out, obviously, the more scrutiny you can put each competitor through, and a longer look you can look at each competitor. It's difficult to look at 7 stages on stage together in, what's a pose last 10 seconds, maybe. To look at 7, to analyze 7 different physiques in that short amount of time,
Yeah,
to
it's not possible, right?
it's not effective to me. There's no rush. So I don't understand why this is happening more often lately. There's no rush. So judge things, take your time and judge it correctly, in my opinion. Like, to me, there should never be more than a 5, maybe a 6 in very rare circumstances, but a 5-person call out to me is enough. That way I feel like I can accurately analyze those 5 physiques in that way. I don't understand why some of this is taking place lately, and then it's hard to, and it's a big. I think it makes it even harder to articulate your decisions afterwards, because it's like, well, why did this guy beat this guy when they weren't even compared with each other?
Yeah, yeah,
You
yeah.
know,
Yeah, like
you know?
if you have 7 and 6 in in each side, right? They were never even close to each other. So
Right. So how do you articulate that? How do you justify that?
yeah,
Like, what I prefer to do, and I do this more and more often. Like, let's say my first call out is 5 guys. If in my head I know who the top 2 are already, but the other 3 are a little closer, I'll take those 2 off the stage now. Top 2, you guys go to the back, or even leave the stage if I'm not certain about it. Now you 3 come closer together so I can see you guys closer together. And
okay.
every situation is different. Maybe in my head I'm like, okay, I know who the top 2 in this class are, no problem there. And let's say I did do a 5-person call out. The next 3 are closer, but there's also one other guy who's in the back row right now who I think could possibly be compared with one of these 4th or 5th place guys, or even 3rd place guys. So I'll get rid of those top 2 guys, send them off, bring the other 3 guys closer to the center now, and then bring 1 or 2 more guys out, compare with them. I just like to do it like, almost like in groupings. Okay, my top 2, top 3, whatever the case may be. My next group is my next 2 or 3, so let's look at them together, and so on. Just in my for my style of posing, I think it's a more effective way, and I'm more sure of my decision that way too, because I've had a chance to analyze these guys next to each other, the guys we're going to be placing. You know, um,
Yeah, yeah. Seems way better. I'm really not a fan of the huge call outs. I can understand a little bit more in the Olympia because being at the first call out is a huge status thing, right? So
right, right,
like when you are a bit unaware of who's going to be fifth or fourth or sixth, like they end up bringing even 7 guys because they're like, okay, how can we say this guy does not belong to the first call out if I don't see it? And then sometimes they start with 7 and then they go to 5, right?
right,
Then
right,
they take out the two ones that they think that don't belong there. But
right,
I understand a bit more in the Olympia because it's like who are going to be the top 5 guys in the world. So there is um this huge thing around it. So they are trying to see if the guys belong there.
right. And I understand.
In other shows, I don't see any space for it.
I understand that, but just again, it's just my opinion, my style. Everyone's got their own, and I respect everyone's style and opinion. But like, let's say what you're talking about, like this. I'm trying to decide who my top 5 are, so maybe I call those 7 to begin with, and I'm going to weed through those 7 to decide who the top 5 are. Okay, fair enough. But if I know, like, so in that scenario, let's use this last Olympia's example as an example. So let's say I bring out that first 7. I know it's going to be between Samson and Hadi, let's say. In my head, I'm like, okay, Derek's a bit off. He's probably not going to be top 2, but Hadi and Samson are the standouts here. Those are the top 2 guys. Okay, great. Get rid of those 2 guys quickly. Not quickly, but after a few poses, after 1 round, whatever the case may be. And now bring these other 5 guys closer together so we can look at them next to each other now. I don't want to look at Akeem in the 7th spot on the far right, comparing him
Yeah,
to Rap might be on the far left on the 3rd spot. You know what I mean? Like, I want to see them right next to each other, or at least as close as possible, in order to fairly assess them. So that's just my personal opinion on it, and that's just my style. I feel like I feel more comfortable with my decisions when I go that style rather than a big lineup on stage that I have to sift through.
It makes sense, but I don't see how they would keep Derek there and just like pull aside two guys, considering Derek was the previous winner. You know, I
Right.
don't think
So yeah.
they'd let him in, but
Well,
I see 4-3. Yep. Anyway.
yeah. And I was just using that as an example. If it was Samson and Hadi
Sure,
ahead of
sure.
like I agree, like Derek being last year's winner, and sometimes people get better as they pose, and sometimes people get worse as they pose. So maybe you do want to put Derek in that top two, top three call out because he was Mr. Olympia last year. Maybe you're just not seeing maybe at the first call out you're just missing something. Maybe it's not his physique, or maybe it is his physique, but maybe he'll get that pop back after a couple more rounds. So you want to give him that opportunity to at least. So yeah, I can understand where I was just using an example of get rid of Samson and
Sure,
Hadi
sure.
top two. Maybe it's your top three, maybe it's your top four. But I would just narrow down the groupings is what I'm basically saying. I think you need to narrow down those in order to get them, in
Yeah,
my
I
opinion.
agree. It's better for the fans watching too.
And I think fans can understand it better too, and they can understand the placings better that way.
Yeah. Okay, so let's start this one with Vito Antonio.
Yep.
I mean, Vito's tan was way off at this show. He
Yeah.
still looks amazing, but okay, let me see if okay, no, this is the end of it. Here's when they're called. I feel like Vito could be very high at the Olympia this year.
I'm really looking forward to see what Vito looks like this year. I think he's doing Pittsburgh as his first show.
Yeah, he is looking way bigger, man. I saw
Yeah.
him in the gym, and I was like, "What the fuck is that?"
His quads are insane. And his posing has gotten better too. I think he had some posing issues early on in his career, and they're getting much better.
Yeah, I feel like Russia competitors over there were not pushing him as far, so he was not really putting the work because
Yeah.
he was just winning anyway. So
Right. Yeah, I understand that. Tonio, I love Tonio's physique. It's so sharp and, beautiful lines. I feel like Tonio's got some posing issues though. And I think it's mostly to do with flexibility in the shoulders. You can see it on some of his poses where he looks very tight and not opened up at all, like very constricted. And I think it hurts him in some poses.
yeah, but I do think that this from Lat is Tonio all day
Yeah,
because I
detail.
mean it's all washed out here in Good Fiddle's midsection. His lots are way higher, so I don't know. I'm
Yeah,
not.
I would definitely oppose Tonio, definitely.
Yeah.
Tonio's hard to beat from the front.
Yeah, very hard. Go to the side chest.
Yeah. Probably go look at the size difference in Vito's legs.
Yeah, it's nasty, but the but Tonio has a bit more detail right through the upper body.
Does, yeah, you're right. Vito's washed out a little bit in the upper body at this show.
Yeah, he got just better. This was his first show, his first pro show, I think.
Uh-huh.
And then he went and did Detroit with you guys, and he
Yeah,
was way improved.
much improved. Yeah, he gave Martin a good run at that show.
Yeah, way more improved. Okay.
Yeah, I'd probably go with Tonio based on Vito's conditioning at this show. But you can see the potential in Vito at this in this shot.
Yeah, and his condition is not bad at all. You can see the lines in the glutes, but I feel like the upper body is a bit washed out, and
I don't know if it's flatness or what it is, but you got definitely lacking that pop in the upper body.
yeah,
He's a character too.
yeah. His hamstrings looks nuts, but
They do.
the actual back, not that much in this shot.
Oh, and leaning back too far too, losing lots. Yeah, Antonio not quite as open up as he could be there, but I still got to give that pose to Antonio for completeness, balance.
Yeah, Tonio was just much harder, much more pop.
Yeah, Antonio's got a super impressive physique.
Yeah.
when he's on, when his conditioning is bang on, he's full. He's looks crazy.
Very
Yeah,
good.
yeah,
Yeah.
you got to go.
Backlash.
Yeah, but look at Vito's legs are just insane from the back too.
Yeah. I mean, if Vito was like 5% sharper and or I don't know, fuller, and he posed a bit better, his stand was a bit better, like there are lots of small things that are putting Vito back, but you definitely can see the potential, right?
Definitely, yeah, yeah. It's gonna be crazy to see him this year with the improvements because I think he just did Detroit last year. I think he shut it down after that.
Yeah, he did shut it down and he came back and he was doing a full off season. He also had a bit of an issue, I think an hernia or something in the belly button, and he got rid of it, and he just did full blown off season. So I'm really looking forward to see what he's going to bring because I think that we might have like he's a potential Mr. Olympia. The guy was in Russia doing with all the respect, but not with the best guidance over
Right?
there, and he already looked like he did. So I feel
Yeah,
that right now he's living here in Brazil, and he's working with people that have knowledge, and he also seems like a very serious guy. He had kids recently, so uh,
yeah,
a kid, I think. So I mean, this is all he got, right? He came from Russia. He's living in Brazil. He's living bodybuilding, and I think it's going to show, man.
yeah. He's with Fabrizio now, isn't he?
I'm not quite sure, but let me see. For me to not say anything. Yeah, yeah, he is with Pasho.
Yeah, yeah. And he has a lot of success with his clients too. And yeah, he was in Detroit last year with him. He's a nice guy. I got to meet him a little bit.
Oh,
Um,
nice. Very nice.
yeah, he's working. Fabrizio's working with someone else new right now. Is it Derek?
Yeah, Derek Lunsford.
Yeah, yeah. It's this would be what his second year of Vito, I believe. Then the second year of contest prep with him, and look, the improvements he made in year one were enormous. So
Yeah, I mean, I'm always a bit looking at these photos. I always feel like this is next Mr. Olympia, but I feel like this since I first saw Vito. So I'm not taking his Instagram that's into account. But
yeah,
look at this shit. Like, what the fuck is that?
yeah, that's
This is
impressive.
the most recent update. I mean, weight
It
is
might,
a bit thicker here, but
yeah, but he's off season too, I'm sure. But
yeah,
he reminds me a lot of a young Jay Cutler.
yeah, man. And I think that he's super young. He's like Martin's age, like 28 or something.
I can't believe some of these young guys nowadays. The
Yeah,
muscle that
it's
young and
crazy, right?
nuts. So much young talent coming up right now.
Yeah, yeah, it's super interesting, right? Because those guys are going to be battling the next 10 years, probably,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, that's the future.
Yeah, like Martin and Vito might be a very big rivalry, actually.
Martin and Vito, yeah, for sure. The Martin and a few guys could be a big rivalry for years to come.
Yeah, yeah, because I'm thinking mostly because of the age.
Yeah,
Derek also super young, right? Like
yeah.
30.
Nick still very young.
Nick,
Uh,
yeah, yeah,
like
those
the
guys are going to be up there quite some time. I feel like Samson, even though he's older, since he had a late start, he could pull off. I'm not saying a Dexter Jackson, but I feel like he could go to his mid 40s, no problem. Looking just improving. Like until his 40s, 44, 45,
yeah.
he could still be getting better.
Oh yeah, like look at the rate. He's improved that rate. Even like going up, leading up to the Arnold's coming up in a few weeks. His progress picks. He looks bigger than he did at last year's Olympia already. Bigger and just as hard, if not harder at this stage. This many weeks.
Yeah, I mean, when you think in bodybuilding years, he is still fresh. So
Right. Right. Yeah. Yeah. And Andrew Jack's another one. Got started very late. Very fresh physique. Still hasn't competed that many times, so he's got a lot of doesn't have very
yeah,
many on his physique yet. It's Yeah, they're definitely the outliers. I would say Samson and Andrew as far as age goes, but their physiques are as fresh as these 20-year-old guys who are coming into it.
Yeah, yeah. Yes, some of the 20-year-old guys are not even that fresh. I mean, guys started like 14,
Yeah,
uh, start taking gear at 15. So
yeah, yeah. Like if you think of Nick, I think Nick is still in his 20s, I believe. I don't think he's hit 30 yet. And you don't think of Nick as a young bodybuilder though. He's been around for a little time, for a little while now.
yeah,
But
yeah,
20s. Look at Chris Bumstead. What didn't Chris just turn 30?
yeah. He retired at 30. Oh,
Yeah, the guy
mhm.
won 6 Olympia titles already at 30 years old. Running the world basically at this point. Like
Yeah,
Regan is another guy. Regan's really young, been around for a little while though. There's
yeah. Regan is a guy that if he's capable of filling his frame,
yeah,
he has the potential to be up there too with
for
battling
sure.
with those guys because it's just that when the guy is so tall, I don't know actually how tall he is, but he does look very tall in the
Yeah,
call
Regan.
out.
He's but Regan, like, he's tall, like he's not super tall, but he's got such wide shoulders that when you see him, it's almost like he gives you the perception of being taller than he actually is because he's so freaking wide. He's a big guy, very big guy.
Okay, so here I feel like I feel like Vito is not really challenging Tonio. Like he is, but I mean, even maybe this pose is his pose, but
Yeah,
I
yeah.
don't know. Like
I think
Tonio is just better.
I think Vito just missed his peak at this show, especially in the upper body. Like you said before, his color's off. There's a lot of things that were off at this show for Vito, but he's getting better with every single appearance though. So this was an early Vito. He's not the same. It's not the
Yeah,
same.
yeah, yeah. He's way improved.
Yeah,
Okay, so let's go to Rafa and Vito. Hold on,
I love that front double bicep on Rafa.
let me replay.
Rafa's another big guy with great shape.
Yeah, it looks amazing. But Vito does look very good in this front double with the vacuum too.
He does for sure. I just see a little bit more balance to Rafa's physique though. The lats, upper body, lower body balance.
Yeah,
Uh, and
the
I did.
the height too. Also, he's more taking more space overall, right?
And Rafa just has beautiful flow to his physique. The way things just fit together, they fit together very nicely.
Yeah, yeah. He really does look like a classic guy, but just bigger.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
insane.
yep. And that kind of physique will go very far though in open bodybuilding. To have that
Yeah, I
combination.
mean, Tyler loves his physique.
Yes.
So do I. I love aesthetic guys.
Yep.
I don't think that this was his best showing. Actually, this was before after the Arnold Ohio, so the expectations were crazy high for him
Uh,
and came in a bit watery, especially from the back. I mean, in the front it still looks great, but
yeah.
side and the back shots, you're going to see that it was not the best Hafa here.
Yeah. And that's what's been holding him back so far, I think, those back shots.
Yeah, yeah. But he's so steady waisted in the front lat. Like, look at this. It's just
Oh, beautiful.
yeah. For me, the best front lat. I mean, not the best because Andrews front lat is insane, but probably the second in the world in this pose.
Definitely one of the top in the world, flat front last present. That's a pose not a lot of guys can look aesthetic in, but
Yeah,
Rafa very aesthetic in that pose.
yeah,
Yeah, that tan on Vito is a little bit distracting, eh?
yeah. It's weird, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, there goes side chest once again. Hafa hit it super fast, which I don't think that benefits him, but I also don't think that Vito was the real threat in this show. Um, yeah, here you can see, right? Like it's not like he's way off. People were really giving him shit for his condition,
Uh-huh.
but you can see like even the like how thin the Vito's skin is through glutes and hams compared to Rafa's. It's
Yep.
there's quite a difference. Yeah, this was not his best showing, and I mean Tonio had a lot to say about this show too. So I'm going to I'm going to bring I'm going to bring the first call out. Okay, first, yeah, I mean the top two, right?
Yeah.
From double. Okay, here is my problem with Rafa's posing. I feel like he puts his legs super close to each other, and you cannot see his sweep good enough. Like
Yep.
like this is like almost like Coleman's could pull that off, but I don't think anyone else can pull that off in the open.
Yeah, I agree. I would also open up the hands a bit more. They're very close to the shoulders there. I would just open them up a slight bit more to just enhance that taper, enhance the frame. But I agree with you with the legs. Yeah. If standing a little bit more like Tonio, I think would make him give him more of an X shape, which is what I think you should look for, what you should want in that pose.
Yeah. So this, who would you give this pose to?
I would go Tonio in this pose based on this picture alone.
Okay, so let's. Yeah, I like that they held it for a long time.
Me too. Who was the head judge of this?
I think it's Dumber. Yeah. Yeah. Um, what about this one, Paul?
Oof, I love that pose on Rafa, even though it could be a little bit sharper conditioning wise. That
Yeah.
shape crazy good. I would probably go Rafa in this pose. Though
Yeah.
Tonio, strong pose for Tonio too, but I think Rafa's overall size and shape is just a little bit too much for Tonio in this pose.
Yeah. The I mean the shoulders hold Tonio back, right? The doubts they seem like the thing that you said about his mobility.
Yeah,
There's something odd here. He could
yeah.
look
Like
look bigger in this shot.
if he could pop his chest up more and drop the shoulders down a little bit, like Rafa was doing, it might be different. But yeah, you can see that he just everything just seems so tight and bound up for Tonio when he poses in an upper body.
Yeah. Let's go. And a side chest, next one. There you go.
Like Rafa's size on this shot. Conditioning here, I don't feel like the difference is as apparent in conditioning on this pose. A little bit, like definitely Tonio's separations are deeper on the side leg and a little bit through the abdominals. But Rafa's got the size.
Yeah.
Edge. That one's very close to me.
Yeah, but I'd also go with Rafa. I think that he's he stands like he's taller. He like his pecs still, even though he's not in the best condition, his pecs still are striated. He looks overall more appealing to me than Tonio in this shot.
And it's hard to deny that shape.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, let's give that one to Rafa by a hair.
Yeah. So far we've got Tonio in the front double, 2-1 to Rafa, right?
1 for Rafa.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, this is where Tonio wins more ground because the condition difference is more apparent, I think.
Definitely. Yeah, especially in the lower body, even more so in the upper body. Although the upper body too, like in the lower back and that, you can really see the difference in conditioning. I think Tonio's got this one a strong win on this one.
Yeah. Does that matter though? Like how much are you winning the pose? Like let's say uh Rafa and Tonio, like it's close. It is close, of course, but there
It,
is one single pose that it's like if you're going boxing criteria, like a 10-8.
right, right. No, I wouldn't say no. Yeah, if you're going 10-8, which is the analogy I like to use a lot when it comes to poses. Um, like no pose weighs more than the other poses. But if you're winning 10-8 scores on your back shots as opposed to losing on 10-9 shots from the side, let's say, those 10-8's got to carry more weight than a 10-9.
Yeah, yeah, I
So
see.
yeah, I always say it's a sum of all the parts. Like it's not that like one thing is more important than the other. Any criteria is more important than the other. It's who's got the best overall package on that day, taking all the criteria into play. So
Sure.
yeah, but yeah, I agree. I think Tonio's got that pose pretty strongly.
Yeah,
Now,
let's.
like if we had to call it right now, based on the four poses we've seen so far, I'm probably going to edge towards Tonio because I think his the poses that he won by a stronger margin than the poses that Rafa won.
Yeah, this is the back lat.
Yeah,
I Yeah, there's no way Rafa's beating him just because of the condition. Uh,
yes,
I think that Rafa from Ohio would have smoked Tonio, with all the
yeah,
respect to Tonio, but
yeah, yeah. He was probably about 10% sharper at that show, which was
yeah,
tough, especially given with his shape advantages and
yeah. I mean,
size.
he only lost to Samson and Hardy, so it's like,
Yeah, but based on this appearance here, yeah, I got to go Tonio on that shot.
yeah. Let's see a side tricep.
That's such a yeah. See Tonio the way he hits that pose, it just hurts him. I got to give that to Rafa.
Yeah, I mean, Tonio has a couple of issues in his posing that it's also the same thing we were talking about Ellie, that if he just improves that his flexibility, mobility, whatever it is, he can bring a way more competitive
For
package.
sure. For Tonio, it's always his side tricep and his abdominal and quad pose that, for me at least, those two poses look so restricted with his movements that, yeah, I agree. If he could get that fixed, those two poses alone would improve greatly for him.
Side try is Hafa.
Oof, that's some crazy detail in Tonio's abdominals there. I think,
Yeah,
yeah, Rafa in Ohio probably wins this pose, but at this show, Tonio,
yeah. Tonio was just built.
he was, and full too.
Yeah, yeah,
So what's that make it then? 3-3?
yeah.
Lower
Let's
track lower.
recap. Yeah, let's recap. From double and from double Tonio, from lat Hafa 1-1.
Yep.
Side Hafa, it's 3-3. Yeah, two back poses to Tonio, two side poses to Rafa. So 3-3, and then with the absent tie to Tonio, 4-3 to Tonio.
Fourth. Yeah, okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
See if the most muscular sways our decision.
If I can get them doing at the same time.
Yeah.
How do you feel this one, Paul?
See, like if Tonio could open up those shoulders more, instead of bringing them together and losing some chest on that pose, it's different.
I feel like Rafa was smart to do the crab while Tonio was doing the hands like this, because
Yeah.
he just takes way more space than Tonio, right? Like this.
Yeah. And he really exposes the width advantages too, I think.
Yeah. I
Yeah, I would probably just based on the way on this particular crab versus the hands class most muscular for Tonio, I would probably go Rafa on that pose.
Yeah, the problem is that when Tonio changes, Rafa changes too, so we don't get to see both of them. Okay. Yeah, there you go. We can have a more comparable of. Anyway, uh I think, yeah, as you said before, that the most muscular is not what is going to win a show, but Rafa goes away. Okay, we have this one. It's
It's a
I
close
mean,
one.
yeah, very, very close, right?
Very close.
Who would you give to?
I would probably, again, different being there. Transitions matter too. Transitions between poses. We're just looking at still shots of poses. I had the slight edge to Tonio going pose for pose here. Um, but again, however, that might have been different in person. Seeing Rafa, that his size difference on stage might have swayed me the other way. I think, like you said before, though, if this is Rafa from Ohio, I don't think this is as close as it is. I think
Yeah.
Rafa a bigger margin, but with this pose, with Rafa's conditioning at this pose or at this competition, I just based on these pictures, I had Tonio with a slight victory.
Yeah, yeah. Me too, but it's very very close, right? This is what
Very,
people. I mean, Tonio was super pissed he didn't win, and I understand why, right? Uh he was a bit better for me, but it's like by a very small margin, right? So
very,
I don't think that he was uh that right in his statements, but I can see why he got pissed. I mean,
yeah,
whenever it's super close like this, you can go either way, right?
yeah. I understand totally being upset about it. Definitely, he brought a better package at this show than Rafa did, in my opinion. But it was very slight. It wasn't like a dominant victory, or an overwhelming victory. It was very slight in my eyes, and being there might have been a different story. Like I said, those transitions in between poses, they matter. Rafa's like in person, that size difference and that width difference might have been more wowing in person than it was, than it is in pictures. So it's hard for me to say, um, but it looked like a very close show though, regardless.
Sure, sure. This is so we don't agree with the decision here. I mean, you don't agree with the decision here, and you also don't agree with the decision here, right?
Right. Based on these pictures, at least,
Yeah,
yes.
yeah. In what we have to judge off why, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, I also would like to make you a question about something that's happening here. I don't know how that works over there, but around here right now, coaches are sponsoring the IFBB like as constant sponsors. So there are like three types of sponsorship, like bronze, silver, and gold.
Yep.
And the coaches are paying the IFBB monthly to be either one of those options of sponsorship.
Yep.
And this is something that doesn't, as a fan, does not make me very comfortable with,
Yes.
because every time I don't see this happening in any other sport, right? I never
Yeah.
saw a coach with athletes competing in the UFC being paying money to the UFC. I don't think that this is a nice way to go about things. We want more clarity. We want more transparency. And when you do something like this, you just make people wonder, like, if I lose to someone whose coach is paying the IFBB every month,
Yeah.
how do you feel as a judge about that?
I understand that, and it's a legitimate concern. Bodybuilding, I'm sure, as you and everyone else knows, there's not as much money sponsorship wise in bodybuilding as there is in other sports, for whatever reasons. That's just the facts. So putting on a big show like the Arnold's, the Olympia, even, like our Detroit show, I can speak from my own experience. There's a lot of overhead. It's a big risk that you're taking, especially with pro shows, because not only pros don't pay to compete. So you're paying your venue, you're paying your sanctioning fees, you're paying your award money to the competitors, and that's become a more competitive thing the last couple of years now, where everyone's upping their game. So you have to keep pace, and there's many other more costs involved. It's a significant financial obligation and responsibility that you take on. So and it's hard, and there's not the bodybuilding sponsorship market is much smaller than other sports. We don't have major corporations like running shoe companies, major clothing brands and stuff like that to try to get some sponsorship dollars from. So you're going after smaller companies that are in this niche market. So very difficult to get money from these sponsors, or maybe I worded that the wrong way. It's very difficult to get financial support from these companies for your shows. They're gonna, they have only got so much money to spend every year, and they're gonna allocate it where they see the most profit from. So money is a problem. Raising money for your shows is an issue. So if someone comes to you and offers you, a couple $1,000s to sponsor a class at your show, it's going to be hard to turn that down, because like we just said, like it's hard to find money to begin with in this sport sometimes. So it's hard to turn that money down. So I understand from the promotional standpoint why they're accepting the money. And this is something I think a lot of people don't understand. Promoters have nothing. The show is judged at their show. Like our Detroit Pro show that Fuad and I and Ben put on, like, yes, I'm a pro judge, but I don't judge the Detroit Pro, and I have no influence on that panel whatsoever. Like last year, Tyler flew in and judged the show himself, head judged it. We had Jock Sullivan on the panel. We had a couple Canadian judges on the panel, and another one or two American judges on the panel. Yes, I know each of those judges, but it's not like I say to these guys, hey, I just got $10,000 from this one trainer. Can you make sure his athletes do really well at the show? That conversation would never happen. I would definitely lose my credibility and probably my ability to put on shows, because I'm now corrupted and I have no integrity. If word gets out, no one's going to do your shows ever again, because they know it's not a fairly judged show. So that's long term going to really, really hurt you. So like, I understand the concern, like, because the perception is that, yeah, this trainer is sponsoring this show, therefore his athletes are going to do good at that show. But the promoters don't have anything to do with the judging at their shows. That's a clear line that is separated from, and for that reason, because you don't want to have any of these potential biases on a panel. So a promoter cannot judge his own show. And the judges themselves, they're not getting that money. So like if a trainer gave a promoter $10,000, for example, for a show, the judges don't get any of that. The judges are paid a flat fee that's set out by the FB for their judging fees. There's no compromise on that. There's no negotiating that. It's a set fee. So the judges aren't benefiting from that money, and the promoters have no influence on the judging panel. So I understand what the perception is. However, it's wrong though. Like, I can just speak from my experience. That doesn't happen. But I do totally understand the perception that it gives.
Yeah, for me, it's less the problem when it's about a show, like a sponsor, sponsoring a show. It is okay, but to sponsor the whole federation seems a bit too much for me, right? Because you are going to have amateurs that are going to compete, and when it's an amateur show, there are not that many eyes on it, so maybe there are more local people involved, so it does take away the credibility of the result a little bit if I lose to someone whose name is on the wall, like,
and I get that too. However, again, like, what if a trainer sponsors and gives the IFBB money, or the CPA, which I'm a part of, the Canadian Physique Alliance, that's our governing body here in Canada. If a trainer were to give the CPA money or the IFBB money, the judges don't get a piece of that at all. And it's not like like there's different judges at every single show. There's like, I may head judge 10 shows this year, but it's different panels at every shows. And again, the judges are just flat fee, so the judges will never see any of that money. It will never reflect the judges whatsoever. I get that it looks like bias, like the league is going to be biased towards this trainer, but the league isn't judging the shows either. They're just sanctioning the shows. So but I understand the perception, what that can look like. But remember too, like, if word starts getting around that this is a tainted organization because of corruption or whatever, this organization is going to die very quickly if that becomes the belief of the masses. There's other federations. I know they're not as big as this one, but there's other options. People, I think, will pick fairness over the perceived size of a league. I think if someone's going to compete, wants to become a bodybuilder, they're not going to go in the league that is known to be biased. They're going to go to the one that's most fairest, I would think. Because athletes, you don't make your money from competing, you make your money from your sponsorships. So as long as social media following, you're going to get a sponsor. So I don't necessarily have to compete in the IFBB if I'm a bodybuilder. If I feel like the IFBB is biased and is biased in any way, I can go compete in any other federation. I can still make a healthy living on bodybuilding just through my sponsorships if I have a big enough following. So I think that's a very strong deterrent to not let corruption seep its way in.
Yeah. I just it's just that it becomes like almost people look at it as there is room for something odd, right? I think that this is the main argument. Like, if you are putting the guys that are training the athletes in the same table that the guys that they don't judge, but they do have a role in the an important role in the organization, and they are sitting at the same table, and they are, becoming having a more personal relationship. So I think that people do fear that a little bit, especially the athletes that are competing against those
Yeah,
guys, right? Like,
right,
they are put in a position where they already think that they are going to be, like
right,
robbed. Like, in their heads, if it's too close, they are robbed, right?
right. So it allows.
Because I just lost to someone who pays the federation. So it's a matter that's very sensitive because,
Yeah,
you
I
know,
get. And at any time that there's potential for a conflict of interest, I think if you can eliminate that potential, you should. Um, so like I'm not privy. I don't know how much these trainers are paying the IFBB or anyone else for that matter. I don't know. I don't have access to that information. But if that money, if it's ruining the reputation of the league, then the money can't be worth it.
yeah,
Like,
this is how I feel about it. Not that it's ruining the reputation, because uh but everyone is going to be more critical of the decisions from now on, right?
yeah, it
So
allows
I
them
don't
to.
know if that benefits the federation.
I don't know what kind of money we're talking about here, so I can't speak on that. But like in my opinion, no amount of money is worth sacrificing your integrity, because I think if
Yeah,
you lost everything,
yeah.
so any amount of money is worthy of that.
It's pretty decent money, but I don't remember if it's like monthly or every year. So that would, of course, change a lot. But I
Yeah,
think it's very decent money, and I understand why they take the money, but also, in the other hand, I feel like there are the sport's growing a lot in Brazil. Like 5 years ago, this was not even as close as what it is right now. So
right.
from what I think it's not a good move for the federation to allow those trainers to be paying them every month when
Yeah,
they have thousands of athletes competing in their shows. I don't think that it's a smart move,
fair
but I
enough.
can see why they do this. I mean, money talks. I understand that,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
credibility has to come first for me.
Yeah, and I agree with you. Like I said before, if you're sacrificing integrity for money, then I don't think that's a good, or even the potential of losing your integrity, I don't think is worth the money. So maybe that's a conversation that will be had in the future. If it becomes, if that issue is important enough, then it probably should become a conversation at a higher level. I know one thing we did in Canada, and I know they've done it in the US too. Years ago, we used to have judges who were training athletes. And that's an obvious conflict of interest. And then so we started putting rules in that couldn't be the place. And then you had some people who were even try to skirt those rules a little bit by, well, I'm just helping them with their posing. If you're taking
Yeah,
money, you're potentially compromising your integrity.
yeah, but it's a bit more uh, problematic than the situation I am telling you right now.
Yeah,
But
yeah, well, yeah,
yeah, but I
but
feel like it should be as clear as possible. I don't think that this helps.
yeah. I think the integrity of the sport is too important to sacrifice for any potential conflicts.
Yeah, of course. We've been almost 2 hours now. I'd like to thank you very much for doing it, Paul. I know you're busy, and I'm sorry that I could not do it yesterday.
That's okay. I got some car troubles, eh?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, here it's crazy the weather right now,
Yeah.
and it's super hot, super rainy. So every time you go out, you have to see what is going to be the rain time.
Really?
Otherwise, you get stuck. Yeah,
The rain?
you get stuck whatever you are.
Really? Well, here it's just cold. You got to worry about bringing your winter coat with you.
How cold is there?
It's okay this week, but last week it was -20.
Oh shit.
It was horrible, man. It was so cold.
I don't know what is this. I really don't know what is this because like in Brazil when it's cold, it's 20.
It's what? Sorry. What's
20,
cold?
20.
20. Okay.
20 degrees is cold for us.
Okay. So that's you guys are going by Celsius, right?
Yeah, by Celsius. Sorry.
Okay.
Are you Fahrenheit or
No, we use Celsius in Canada too.
yeah.
Uh,
Minus 20, I thought it was Celsius. You're right.
yeah. So 20 is actually pretty warm for us in Celsius.
Yeah,
Uh,
I imagine.
but -20 is very cold.
I never experienced that. I experienced like -5 in Denmark, and it was like the worst feeling I could get. My nose was almost falling off my ears. It felt like they would fall off.
Yeah, I don't know if I could handle your guys' heat. I was in
Oh,
Mexico this year. I was in Mexico back in August, and that was so hot. I would imagine Brazil's even hotter than that. I would imagine.
yeah. It's not comfortable at all. If you are taking some gear, it's even worse because you get all sweaty and messy. Like
Right?
you don't really function in Brazilian society with gear. So it is how it is.
That's hilarious.
Yeah,
I can see why though.
yeah. Thank you very much, Paul. This was
My
very
pleasure.
nice.
It was nice talking to you. My pleasure.
Hope to have you on once again whenever something
Sure.
comes up. We can get your view on it
Yeah, definitely.
if you have the time.
Yeah, I'd
Thanks
be
very
happy.
much.
My pleasure. Nice meeting you,
Goodbye,
Randall.
Steve.
Thank you.
Nice
Have a
meeting you.
nice
Goodbye.
meeting you.
Thank you.
Bye.